Okay, this video is going to be all about the saturation adjustment layer. This thing is really powerful. It's really useful for making really specific adjustments to colors in your image. So let's take a look at this. This is a photograph I've done, Captain Marvel, Thanos, Hot Toys. It's really ugly. So the colors in this, there's loads of problems with them. Like if you look at the kind of gold yellows here, they've got a green tint to them. The red looks a little bit cool, like it's almost going into purple in some places. Same problem on Thanos there. The gold on him has got kind of a green tone to it. His kind of skin, the purple of it's a little washed out. So it's not pretty. It needs some work. Now, a lot of folks will try and attack this with stuff like curves. But the problem is curves are really hard to wrestle with to make specific changes to single colors. So I might want to grab the golds in this and try to reduce the greens out of them. Conversely, I might want to grab the reds and, take that purple tint out of them. So this is where the hue saturation adjustment layer comes in. So let me show you what this does. Now, I've just popped a curves layer on just to bring the levels up on this overall, make it a bit brighter. And then we'll come down here and add the hue saturation adjustment layer. By default, what this thing is going to do is let you adjust saturation. You can do that. You can adjust lightness, or you can adjust the hue. And that's going to pull all the colors around. It's kind of useless on its own. But if we reset all that, what it's really useful for is grabbing specific colors in a range and moving them around. So let me show you this. So if you grab this icon here, and then I'm going to sample our golds here, kind of about there, and you can see what it's done. So it's put this kind of constraint on the color wheel here, or color bar if you prefer, and it's sampling around that area. So if you look really carefully, you can see it's sort of just heading into the greens, which is what we want to knock out. So what this does is say all these controls are still going to work. You can still increase the saturation, decrease lightness, change the hue, but it's only going to apply to the range in here. So what this means is if I want to reduce the green in this yellow area that we've selected here, I've just got to grab the hue and kind of move it around. So I don't need to do very much, and you can see the green tones in the gold areas on Cap Marvel and Thanos have both gone away. They're a little washed out, so we'll push the saturation up just to sort of make them a little bit punchier. And you can see if I drag that all the way up, it's just affecting those yellowy green areas. So that lets me do one little change. What I can do is come back down here and get really precise with this constraint and widen it up like this, or go the other way and widen it down there, which is going to start bringing in the reds. These lighter gray areas are kind of a fall off. So if you bring those in really tight, you're not going to get as good results. So you want to have a nice little bit of gray about that length when you play with this effect. But certainly if you want to pull the bar wider to bring in more color, that's fine. But normally, for my money, the more precise you get with this, the narrower you can get to focus in on a color, the better results you get. So we've done the yellows. Now let's get the reds. So now I can do the same thing. And if I click on the reds here, what you'll see is it jumps to the reds. Now, what you'll notice is there's a drop down with all the color ranges, if you like, the main 6, as well as the master channel. And so you're able to make these changes to each independently. So if I jump back to the yellows, that's that adjustment we've just made in the yellows, moving the hue more out of the greens and increasing the saturation a bit. We'll jump back over to the reds where we've made that sample. So here, I want to get some of that sort of blue toning out. So if I push it that way, you can see it's going more pink, more magenta. But if I bring it this way, it's just knocking out those blue tones in the red. And then I'm going to punch the saturation up on that as well, and it looks way better. I'm going to do it once more. So now I'm going to sample Thanos' skin, which it's registering in the blues. So we might get a bit of a problem here because we've got blue tones for his skin and we've got the blue tones of her suit. So this is where you might need to bring in masks. But all I've got to do again is just pull that hue around, and yep, sure enough, you can see her suit, the blue of her suit is becoming too purple, but then his skin is becoming more purple. So what I might do here is just make a little adjustment to her suit. I want to make the blue in her suit a little more vibrant, might even punch it up a bit, and that will do. So that's not bad for just one adjustment layer. So I could turn that on and off. You can see what that's done. It's just made all these colors look way better. So I'm going to call that Cat Marvel colors. And then what I want to do is go back and fix Thanos. And I'm going to do it with a separate adjustment layer. So we'll pop another one on. I'm going to immediately call it Thanos. And so with this one, we'll just jump straight onto his skin. And I'm going to make an adjustment to his skin, but I'm going to ignore what it does to Cat Marvel. So it doesn't matter what's going to happen to her suit. We're going to deal with that in a minute. So we've sampled the blues. So now I can just move that around to make his skin look a bit better. That looks great. Might try a little saturation, see what that does. Maybe say there. Lightness is fine. So this looks good. Now the problem obviously is it's now fighting against the blue in her suit and making that a bit too purple. So the easiest thing to do here is to just use the layer mask on the adjustment layer here and paint out Cat Marvel or paint in Thanos. So I'm going to do it the opposite way around. So I'm going to paint in Thanos. So to do this, I'm going to hold Control or Command Delete. That's going to fill the layer mask on this adjustment layer we've done for Thanos. Get the brush here. We've got a white brush. Flow 100. Yep, that looks good. And then all I've got to do is come in over his skin tones here and paint those back in so they poke through. Maybe what I'll budge the hardness up, and that is pretty much it. So we've got a little bit in there. I mean, if you're dealing with an image where you need a little bit more finer control, you've got all the masking tools, quick select, that kind of thing that'll help you out with this. But essentially for an image like this, I don't need to do anything more than that. I'm going to check my mask. Control or Command click on the mask to see it. That looks good. If you do Alt or Option click on the mask, you can kind of see where you've painted. And then if I toggle that on and off, we should see his skin tones just change. You can go back to the adjustment layer controls. This was under blues. We can push that all the way up to make sure we've covered everything we need to. And then you can either drag that down or do an undo, and you're pretty much done. So this is the amazing power of hue and saturation adjustment layers. They're really, really cool for doing fixes like this, fixing up photos, areas where your colors aren't quite right. You want to shift things around, change the color of areas. It's very, very easy to do, and it gives you really, really fine control. So that's it for this video. If you found this useful, please subscribe to the channel. If you do that and then head to the channel page, there's a subscriber only video that's got a bunch of links to free downloads, all sorts of stuff that's going to help you out with Photoshop. So go ahead and do that now, and I'll see you in the next video. Head to ToyShooter.com for more tutorials, resources, and help with Photoshop compositing. You can also subscribe to my free newsletter by visiting shoot.toys in your browser or clicking on the link on screen. You can also follow my work on Instagram at instagram.com/shoot.toys. Subscribe to the channel to watch a special subscriber-only video, which you'll find on my channel page after subscribing. Lastly, you'll find links to all the places I've just mentioned in the description for this video below.